building is marked for demolition, the same questions follows. Could this have been prevented? What did the owner do wrong? And could the same thing happen to any property owner? Hello and welcome to another informative edition of Real Estate Today, where we simplify property matters and help you make informed real estate decisions. I am Elizabeth Abefe.
And I am Iremofe Kofoworola. On today's program, we are discussing demolition in Nigeria, why buildings are brought down, and also we get to know how property owners can avoid costly mistakes. We explain to you the common reasons buildings are demolished, what every landowner and developer should understand before construction begins, and the practical steps that can help reduce the risk of enforcement actions. And in today's edition also, our real estate updates, will bring to you the latest developments shaping Nigeria's real estate sector. So later in our word of the day, that is another segment, we explain to you important property developments, the term, and every property owner should get to know this. It's very important. And also in our consumer corners, we share practical steps that can help you protect your property before and during development. So let's take a short break, and when we return, we begin with today's real estate news update. Stay with us.
Welcome back, still on Real Estate Today, your trusted source for the latest developments in Nigeria housing and property sector. And here are today's top real estate stories. The rising cost of building materials is putting additional pressure on Nigeria housing sector, with industry players warning the higher construction expenses are affecting housing delivery. Reports indicate that key construction inputs have recorded significant price increases compared with previous year, increasing the cost of projects for developers and contractors. The impact is being felt across major housing markets as developers adjust project budgets, review pricing strategies, and explore alternative construction methods to reduce expenses. For prospective homeowners and tenants, industry experts says the increase in construction costs could further contribute to higher worsening affordability challenges in the housing market. Housing affordability remains a major concern in Lagos as rising land prices, construction costs, and maintenance expenses continue to put pressure on the property market. Industry stakeholders says the increasing cost of accommodation is affecting low and middle income earners, forcing many residents to consider locations outside traditional city center where housing is relatively cheaper. Experts says while landlords are also dealing with rising maintenance costs, tenants are increasingly searching for affordable alternatives as housing expenses takes a larger portion of household income. The federal government says Nigeria housing and real estate sector contributed more than 77 trillion naira to the nation's economy in 2025, highlighting the sector's growing importance to economic growth. Speaking at a stakeholder validation workshop on the National Housing Data Program and the National Housing and Built Environment Regulation Policy in Abuja, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, Mutak Dama, disclosed the real estate service alone accounted for about 41 trillion naira, representing 13.4% of the country's gross domestic product. The minister said despite the sector's impressive contribution, challenges such as weak regulation, inadequate mortgage financing, poor housing data, and fraudulent hinder growth. He noted that the federal government is proposing reforms, including the licensing of developers and estate agents, stronger consumer protection measure, improved mortgage financing, and establishment of a National Housing Industry Regulatory Commission. The government also revealed that Nigeria core housing deficits currently stand at about 15 million housing units, underscoring the need for sustained investment and reforms to improve access to affordable housing. And that's today's edition of Real Estate News Update today. For more updates on Nigeria housing and property markets, stay with us. Thanks for watching. Now moving on, we'll be showcasing a short video for you. Let's take a look at this short video.
When you have a construction professional, it's easier to rule out many buildings before you now get to the one that they will first confirm, then tell you to do non-destructive test or full building assessment on top of. For example, you see a house, your agent sends the house to you and like, wow, this house is beautiful. And you just send it to your construction professional and you look at it and like, this house don't enter ground, leave this house abeg. And you move on. You get to the next one and like, see water they come up for the wall. This one is very expensive to fix. And you're like, next. You understand? So when you have, apart from your lawyer, your surveyor, and all the other professionals you need in order to make sure that the decision you make is perfect. Now, people that are wise and people that have money and know how to use their money usually try their best to reduce their risk as much as possible. And the way they do that is hiring people that know better than them in that field. So be safe out there. Make sure you check and check and check and rule out all risk factors so that by the time you pay for that property, all is well. Did you learn anything today? Let me know in the comments. I've been Folajomi. See you on the next one.
Thank you, Sir Jimmy, for that. I know you'll be asking what is running through your mind is what's the need of that video. We are just getting started. Building safety remains one of the biggest concerns in Nigeria real estate sector, as cases of building collapse and demolition of unsafe structures continue to raise questions about construction standard and regulatory compliance. Over the years, several buildings across the country have collapsed across the country due to issues ranging from poor construction practices to structural defects. In Lagos alone, emergency agency and regulators have continued to respond to building failure with multiple collapse incidents recorded in recent years. The Council of the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, COREN, has maintained reported building collapse cases across the country. Beyond collapse, authorities have also carried out demolitions of distressed buildings considered unsafe. The Lagos State government disclosed in 2026 that hundreds of distressed buildings have been removed as part of efforts to reduce the risk of structural failure and improve safety compliance. Most recently, in June 2026, building safety concerns came into focus again following two major collapses. A 3-story building collapse in Alakija, Lagos, recorded multiple casualties with reports confirming at least 9 deaths. Let's take a look at a short video that explains more information.
Don't pay those ones.
That is 3-story building and another 5-story building under construction collapse along the Dr. Peter Odili Road in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, leading to rescue operations in Lagos. Authorities also demolished a distressed 6-story residential building in Parkview Estate, Ikoyi, after identifying structural defects and possible risk of collapse. Experts say this incident highlights the need for proper planning, professional supervision, quality material, and regular building assessment. So now the main question is, why do buildings fail, and what can property owners do to protect their investments?
All right, thank you so much, Elizabeth, because you cannot undermine the fact that we have a lot of building collapse in Lagos State, and I think government is trying their best to ensure that yes, there's safety. All right, so those are some of the latest developments making headlines in the real estate when it comes to building collapse. And if you want to know why we have so many building collapse in Lagos, so for many Nigerians owning a property, it means that a lot of investments and hard work go into all of this for you to own a property. But when construction standards are ignored, that investment can become a serious safety risk. Especially building collapse is often not caused by one single factor. It is usually the result of several mistakes, from poor planning to weak construction practices. So today we examine 10 common causes of building collapse in Lagos, not just in Lagos, in Nigeria generally, and how they can be prevented. Reason 1, poor foundation, design, and soil investigation. If you're very familiar with this show, we always bring experts. We talk about the need for you to employ the services of professionals. So if you do not do your foundation right and you do not test your soil, there could be any form of collapse. So the foundation carries the weight of every building. So when the foundation is weak, or the soil condition is not properly assessed, the entire structure can become unstable. And it brings to the saying that if the foundation be faulty, what can the righteous do? So if the foundation of the building is faulty, what can any developer do?
Exactly.
What the developer needs to do is to ensure that the foundation is not faulty.
So before construction begins, developers should conduct proper soil tests and ensure the foundation design matches the type of building and location. Ignoring foundation requirements can result in cracks, sinking, and eventual collapse. And if you're very familiar with us on this show, we've brought different kind of experts that even someone talked about the soil of a thing. You have to test the soil, the surveyor, and he said it is very, very important. For us to understand this better, another video will be played for you to understand more about what we are talking about.
The building collapsed again. Despite using the right concrete, the right reinforcements, and even the right amount of labor, vibrations and everything. What then happened? It's quite simple. Because you have all the materials correctly does not mean you executed correctly. I'll give you a simple example. A slab transferred load to a beam, and that beam transfers the load to the column, and that column transfers the load into the foundation. Now, instead of one beam transferring the load to another beam before it transfers it to the column, they put the reinforcement on top instead of at the bottom, because the one that is supposed to carry it is the one at the bottom, because gravity, of course. So at the end of the day, what happened? They put the load that was supposed to be transferred downwards, they put it up. So instead of the thing resting on where it's supposed to rest, it was under it. So what happened? He had nothing to rest on, so he fell to the ground. Same example again. They said use 8 bags of cement per cubic meter of concrete. At the end of the day, you use 8 and the building still collapsed. Why? Because the water was too much. Do you understand? So you can do everything right in regarding materials, But when you do not do inspection correctly, design correctly, and everything else correctly, your money has entered the bush. Or rather, your money just caught fire. It doesn't end at good materials, good brains, good minds, good hands to come into play. I've been Folajomi. See you on the next one.
Thank you so much, sir, for Jimmy. May our money not enter bush. I mean, because it's a whole lot when after you've invested so much, and at the end of the day,
Just because you refuse to do the necessary inspection.
Yeah, inspection is very important. You know, sometimes just like a student who has actually read for the exams and eventually fails, probably it was the way the questions were answered. That could be one reason such students fail. But like I read. So you can use the right proportion of materials, still not
getting the right,
on
how to go about it.
The inspection, because if you use 8 bags like he said, but you are saying like I use 8 bags, I use concrete, but what if the water was too much, like he explained? So sometimes we begin to think, oh, we've done the best thing, but inspection matters. All right, so moving away from inspection. Oh my goodness, what happened today? Yes. Moving away from that, let us talk about the use of substandard materials. That is another reason buildings collapse. So the quality of materials used during construction directly affect the strength of a building. We've seen cases of like that, not using the right materials, and not just the right material, quality materials in this sense.
So using inferior cement, weak reinforcement materials, or poor quality building components to cut costs can compromise structural safety. Experts advise property owners to prioritize quality material over short-term savings. Another video will be showcased so you can understand more better.
Here's the thing we hold as settled. Doing it right is always cheaper than fixing it wrong. Everybody proper feels expensive. The soil test, the real engineer, the correct lawyer to check the title, until you meet the alternative, the crack, the land in dispute, the case in court. Then you give anything to go back and spend that small money you saved. The worst part is that some people cannot even join the consequence to their former action. Anyways, education is cheaper than litigation. A soil test is cheaper than collapse. The shortcut was never the cheap option. It was the most expensive one, hiding in a corner. We do not take it. We pay the small price on purpose every time. The small price that looks expensive today. I've been Folajomi. See you on the next one.
All right.
Thank you so much, Sir Folajomi. So for Sir Folajomi is trying to explain that you are trying to cut costs right now, forgetting that later on when the issue warrants, the money that you refuse to spend at the beginning, initial beginning, you will spend ×2 of it. Yeah. So it is very, very important for you to do the necessary thing at the right time. Do not say because, someone else is selling it at a cheaper rate and all of that, you're getting a weak destiny. The way you're getting a weak inferior material for your building now, it will later affect you later in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's look at another reason we have building collapse. When we have buildings without proper design and approval, every building project requires proper planning, architectural designs, and structural calculations.
Constructing without approved plans or ignoring professional design can result in unsafe structures that cannot withstand the intended load.
All right, let's go to another reason we have building collapse: engaging unqualified professionals. This cannot be overemphasized. Another major cause of building failure is the involvement of unqualified workers or contractors.
Registered architects, engineers, builders, and surveyors play important roles in ensuring that construction meets safety standards. Cutting corners during construction can have serious consequences.
All right, so let's look at another reason there could be building collapse: overloading the building. We've seen cases of this. Our buildings are designed to carry specific loads. Exceeding those limits can weaken the structure.
Adding extra floors, installing heavy equipment, or changing the purpose of a building without proper assessment can increase pressure on the structure. Just like the video one that explained better that when you are not following the beam of the building, the one that is supposed to carry load is the foundation. But rather than putting the load on the foundation, you are putting it on the top one. What will the foundation now rest on when the load is sinking?
Yeah, so it's very important you use the right things and proportionately the right way. All right, failure to follow approved plans. Sometimes approval is obtained, but construction does not follow the approved design.
Unauthorized changes such as removing structural elements, extending beyond approved area, or adding extra floors can put buildings at risk.
All right, in case you are wondering what number are we about to give you right now, this is reason 7. We have building collapse, poor supervision during construction. We talked about inspection the other time. Thank God I got it right now. So we talked about inspection the other time. So it's very important that the required supervision is needed. Construction requires proper monitoring at every stage.
Without professional supervision, mistakes in materials, measurement, and construction method may go unnoticed and affect the safety of the building.
It's very important. So, poor maintenance and water damage. A building requires poor maintenance. A building requires proper maintenance, but if you get to maintain it poorly, that can affect the construction and it becomes complicated.
Water leakage, corrosion, cracks, and other warning signs can weaken a structure over time. Regular inspections and timely repair can prevent major damage. But sometimes we see some cracks, we see some drainage, and we just overlook it. Oh, it's the wet, it's the season, rain. But there are sometimes all these things are showing us signs, but we refuse to just take a look at it. Like all those buildings that sink, not suddenly a building will just sink. They would have been like
warnings
and
some ignored signs,
exactly. The signs will be there, but then we always choose to ignore. It's just a small crack, it's just a small this, it's just this, it will go eventually. There is a building at Ogba whereby the people is a school, but because they were able to, they saw the sign and they were able to react instantly, they evacuate the student and all of that. That is just one of the things that you could actually see and just take caution to. But most of the time we are always waiting. I don't know what we're always waiting for, but like they say, prevention is better than cure. So most of the time we just have to be, we have to notice things ahead and take the proper means.
All right, I just believe it's all about maintenance culture in this part of the world. Just like the other episode of Healthy Living, talking about the fact that there are some dangers, some health risks that we experience, but gradually, before you know, the body shuts down. It's not as if it just happens in a day.
Exactly.
So if your body,
if
your body could shut down, from gradual ignorance of you not paying attention to your health, the same thing can happen to building, to machineries, to different things. So no problem just starts overnight.
Exactly.
It's a gradual thing you ignore. So this is just a call on everyone involved in building sector, in the built industry. Please, it is very important that we pay attention to all of this. Another reason we have building collapse is building on unsuitable land. We've talked about on soil testing is very important. So the location of a building is also important. So is safety.
Developing on unstable soil, wetland, drainage channels, or restricted areas can expose buildings to serious risk. Proper land investigation should come before construction even begins. Very important. Proper land investigation. That after your proper land investigation, that is when soil testing comes to on board. Everything works hand in hand. Don't skip one and move to level 5. It's going to tell on the building later on.
Absolutely. So we've highlighted 9 reasons we have building collapse in Nigeria. So let's go to number 10, which is very important. And we mentioned a bit of it in our discussion, and that's ignoring warning signs. Finally, many buildings show signs before failure occurs.
Crack, tilting walls, sinking floors, and unusual structural movement should never be ignored. Early professional assessments can help identify problems before they become disasters. So for you to understand more better, because I know some of you like, okay, what Abefe is saying, in case you're just joining, this is still Real Estate Today on Consumer Ala TV, and we are trying to guide you 10 things you need to look at. Why buildings are brought down or demolished? What happens to building? Why do they fail? So for you to understand more better, in case you're joining, you're still on the show, let's play this video so you can understand better.
Imagine waking up one day to see that your house has been marked for demolition. What will you do? Let's see this video.
Look at that machine in front. They have removed the fence for some of the staff and the community. They said they must break it down today. Look at the house. Initially, they told us that the house matches with their design, and so they will not demolish it. Instead, we will pay another money for the land. But if you cannot pay the money that they want for the land, then they will sell the house, they will give me something, and then I will move elsewhere. All of a sudden now, they came back and said not anymore. They don't want that again. They want to demolish it.
Sadly, this is a harsh reality for many property owners in Lagos and beyond. Today, let's talk about why this happens, how to prevent it, and what to do if you ever find yourself in this situation. Why do people lose their properties to demolitions or building collapse? 1. Land ownership issues and disputes. When you buy land or houses with defective title, or you are buying without doing proper land documentation, you are going to lose your land. When you buy land from unauthorized sellers or omonile who claim to have land in government scheme, as it was in the case of this video we just watched above. 2. Government-related demolitions. When you buy properties overriding public interest, these are land that are designated for road, for railway, for schools, or public infrastructure. A good example is the demolitions of houses along the coastal highway because they override public interest. When you build on drainage systems and waterways, which can lead to flooding or structural damage, you will lose your land. 3. Paperwork and compliance issues. When you fail to obtain approvals from the regulatory bodies like the LASPA, which is the regulatory body for issuing building approval, LAPSCA, and other regulatory agencies within the built industry. When you ignore building codes or ethics and compromising on standard practices that may lead to building collapse or subsequent demolitions. Or you choose to ignore the use of professionals because you felt it's expensive. How do you prevent property loss? 1. Verify land titles before buying. Never assume. Always confirm with the land bureaus. It's very, very important. 2. Ensure that your property is not under government committed acquisition. You need to check with the urban planning blueprints to confirm this. Number 3, get the proper approvals before building. Town planning's approvals are not optional. Then 4, avoid cheap, questionable deals. If a deal sounds too good to be true, then don't deal. Okay, what if your property is being marked for demolition? What do you do? 1, act fast. Once you see that your property is marked for demolition, don't wait. Consult a property lawyer to review your documents and you engage the right authorities. Check for possible settlement in some cases. Fines or paperwork corrections can resolve the issue. And lastly, if the land is truly under government acquisition, explore a location option instead of fighting a lost battle.
Thank you so much for that, Chief Coach of Lagos. You've had from him directly. So in a nutshell, from poor planning to lack of maintenance, many building collapse can be prevented. Safety must remain the priority at every stage, from land purchase and design to construction and maintenance.
All right. So it's now time for Words of the Day, where we explain important real estate terms every property owner should know. So let's look at some of these being displayed on the screen. That was Consumer Corner right there, and I believe you've been able to learn one or two from that. In summary, all of these discussions today, they are intertwined, so just pick one or two and learn from it. Alright, so building safety begins with making the right decisions from the beginning. Proper planning, quality construction, and regular maintenance can protect lives and investment.
A building is more than just bricks and concrete. It represents homes, business, and years of investment. So protecting that investment starts with prioritizing safety and following the right procedures.
We hope today's program has helped you understand the causes of building collapse and the steps you can take to prevent them.
I am Elizabeth Abefe. This is the period time I hate saying all the time on the show because the show is finally coming to an end. For more information, do not gatekeep. Just like we always say, follow us across all our social media platforms at on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, everything. Consumer Alert TV. Share, tell a friend to tell a friend. At Consumer Alert TV, we have educative shows inside that you can pick one or two on.
And I am Iremofe Kofoworola. Thank you so much for watching Real Estate Today. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.